Hi guys, hope you are well. Is there a new revolt on the right brewing? According to Nigel Farage, who has written in The Telegraph, yes there is, and he says that it poses a huge threat to Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Now, of course, I previously covered how we have seen polling that shows the Labour well ahead now in the Red Wall constituencies, including a 16-point lead for Labour. I think this was a Delta poll of the Red Wall seats. Labour on 49%, the Conservatives 33%, which would mean potentially 100 Conservative MPs losing their seats at the next election. And at this time, Nigel Farage has come out with a piece at The Telegraph saying that a revolt on the right is brewing and that he is ready to be part of it, saying the Tories haven't noticed yet, but a UKIP-style surge of discontent is building. Now, Nigel Farage says the Conservative MPs in Red Wall seats have got the jitters, and so they should, referring to that previous poll, and referring to two particular issues. First of all, on illegal migration. And interestingly, Nigel Farage also refers to increased gas and electricity bills will coincide with tax rises, and that Richard Tice, of course, the leader of Reform UK, if he can get the message through that 25% of people's electricity bills is spent on green subsidies, which is just absurd, isn't it? And that the 5% VAT energy rate has not been removed, then Reform UK have its big chance. And now, crucially, Nigel Farage in this article says that for now, he says he's the party's president in a non-executive role, but intends to increase the help that he is giving to Richard Tice, saying Brexit has not been completed properly and that the net zero strategy is placing our nation at a significant disadvantage and the channel crossings are humiliating Britain. And again, the really devastating figure when it comes to the illegal channel crossings is that we saw close to 30,000 people in 2021 use that route, and just 5 was the figure I've seen, just 5 out of about 28 odd thousand people were deported. Now, when it comes to the issue of immigration, clearly there is some debate going on now within the Conservative Party as to what direction they take on this, because Sir Edward Lee questioned Boris Johnson about this at Prime Minister's Questions. And I found it really interesting that he referred to the Tories' new working class voters in this question in Parliament.
Apparently the government is thinking of relaxing visa controls from India in order to get a free trade deal. Whilst a free trade deal is valuable in itself, we should not be held to ransom. Would he agree with me that our new working class voters who voted Brexit did not vote to replace immigration from Europe with more immigration from the rest of the world, any more that when they were told that they would take back control, we would lose control of the channel? So will he convince us that he's determined to connect to our supporters and control immigration?
Yes, Mr. I don't recognise the account he's given at all. We don't do free trade deals on that basis, and I can tell him actually that net immigration since we took back control has gone down, Mr. Speaker. And we will continue to make sure that we take advantage. And that's all they want, Mr. Speaker. Their answer is everywhere and always release uncontrolled immigration. That is their approach to the economy. And it's not the right way forward. That's why our Borders Bill, currently in the House of Lords, is so important, Mr. Speaker, because it enables us properly to take back control of our borders and to tackle illegal immigration, Mr. Speaker. And what would be good, Mr. Speaker, is to hear from some support from the Labour benches.
Now, afterwards, Sir Edward Lee tweeted out that the Prime Minister confirmed to me just now there will be no relaxation in visa rules in exchange for free trade deals, saying we need a stronger approach to our borders. Now, I actually think that Boris Johnson there talking about net immigration going down, this is one of the things that Boris Johnson and his government could do to get back on track. Now, we saw previously Boris Johnson say that post-Brexit, the UK businesses can't simply rely on uncontrolled migration, that we've seen evidence of already clearly held down wages for British workers. And we've already seen countless examples, including bonuses before Christmas for workers, as companies can no longer rely on unlimited supply of cheap foreign labour. And so I think one of the strongest arguments the Tories could put forward would be to commit to tens of thousands net migration as David Cameron, of course, promised, but couldn't deliver because, of course, we were still inside the European Union with open borders. But the situation is clearly very serious for the Conservatives in terms of their support. And when you look at the focal data, nationwide poll, nearly 25,000 people they spoke to. And as they found, the current estimated seats, if the election were held now, you see there the Conservatives go from 365 to 237. Labour would shoot up from 202 to 338. And as focal data points out, the 237 seats that the Conservatives are on course for will be their lowest haul since 2005. The polling also finding that Boris Johnson's falling behind Keir Starmer on key leadership metrics. And as I previously pointed out before, it wasn't that long ago that Boris Johnson had absolutely huge leads over Keir Starmer personally, because that Brexiteer coalition of traditional Tory support, of Labour Leave voters, of former Brexit Party and UKIP voters had basically united around the Conservatives. You're now seeing discontent, including, I know, from many of you here on my channel who watch my channel and comment, who voted Conservative at the last general election. You're not happy with the government at the moment. I say it again, I think the Conservatives, I think Boris Johnson could still turn it around, but clear now that they are losing support. And as focal data points out, what's going on is that their model suggests that voters are not simply voting based on the 2016 referendum anymore, saying that the 2016 Leave voters are now split, and you can see a clear picture that's different now from the 2019 election, with half of Leave voters now intending to vote for a party other than the Conservatives. Now, I would say if the Conservatives are going to win the next election, if Boris Johnson's going to get another majority, that needs to be way up. That needs to be at least 3/4 of Leave voters, Brexiteers, voting Conservative. And when you break this down in terms of the electoral landscape and this constituency polling that Focal Data did, the current snapshot of the electoral landscape, what you see is Reform UK getting double digits in quite a few constituencies. For instance, in Barnsley Central, Reform UK would get 15%. They'd get 15% in Barnsley East, 11% in Hull East, 11% in Rother Valley, 11% in Rotherham, 12% in South Shields. And indeed, actually, what this Focal Data, this big poll of close to 25,000 people finds is that Reform UK's highest level support currently is in the northeast of England, where they're averaging 8%, and 12% of Leavers have now switched their support to Reform UK. I thought I'd break down some of the numbers there and highlight this big warning from Nigel Farage of another revolt on the right. It is another big warning to Boris Johnson's Conservative government, who I do still think have time to turn the tide and win back support, but they need to get on with it. Whether it's scrapping the BBC licence fee, whether it's things I've already talked about, like bringing down net migration to the tens of thousands, triggering Article 16 instead of endless negotiations with the EU, getting out of the ECHR, a new grammar school in the poorest postcodes to increase social mobility, and certainly a big cut in taxes and green levies. Let me know what you make of these numbers, of what Nigel Farage has had to say, and I'd be really interested to hear, guys, who do you currently intend to vote for? How could Boris Johnson win your support at the next election? Let me know in the comments below, guys, and as ever, thanks so much for watching the video. If you have found it helpful and informative, please do drop a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate your support. Make sure you hit subscribe and the bell so you don't miss my next video, and of course, as ever, guys, thanks so much for watching.